Imagine holding an ordinary-looking penny in your hand, something so small, so simple, so easily overlooked in everyday life, yet behind its copper surface lies a story so astonishing that it can change everything you thought you knew about money, value, and history. Because today we are talking about one of the rarest treasures in numismatic history, the 1965 no-mint mark USA 1-cent coin. A coin that seems just like any other from the outside, but carries with it an unimaginable worth of $11 million. And the mystery, the rarity, the history, and the demand for this coin make it one of the most powerful stories in the world of coin collecting, a true example of how a single mistake or unique occurrence at the mint can transform a coin that should have been worth just a cent into a fortune that could change someone's life forever. And when we dive deeper into the fascinating details of this coin, we find that the year 1965 was a turning point in American coinage. The U.S. Mint was under pressure due to a nationwide coin shortage, and in response, they decided to remove mint marks temporarily from coins produced from 1965 to 1967 to discourage collectors from hoarding, which means that all coins from this period, whether made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, came without mint marks, making the 1965 pennies seem ordinary at first glance. But here's where the twist begins, because among the billions struck, only a very small number carried unique features, errors, and striking anomalies that make them worth fortunes today, and the 1965 no-mint mark penny valued at $11 million is the crown jewel among them, one of those near-mythical coins that almost no one has ever seen but every collector dreams of. And what exactly makes this coin so rare and so valuable? It all comes down to its errors and the historical significance it carries. Some of the most remarkable 1965 pennies were mistakenly struck on silver planchets, left over from 90% silver dimes that were being phased out at the time, which means these pennies weigh slightly less or more than the standard 3.11 grams of copper alloy, and their shine, luster, and composition are completely different from the ordinary ones, instantly setting them apart for expert eyes. Others showcase double dies, where the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the date itself appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die hubbing process, creating an eye-catching error that skyrockets value, and some even display off-center strikes, broad strikes, or clipped planchets, mistakes that collectors crave. But what truly sends the value of this particular 1965 penny soaring into the millions is its extreme rarity, because while billions were made, only one or two of these error types have ever been discovered in pristine, uncirculated condition, preserved almost perfectly as if time itself froze them in their original form. And when such coins make their way into auctions, bidding wars explode, collectors, investors, and museums all fight to get their hands on a piece of history. And it's this competition combined with the rarity that pushes the value into jaw-dropping numbers like $11 million. But beyond the financial side, think about the story it tells, a coin minted in a time of transition, when the U.S. Mint was experimenting, adapting, and making decisions under pressure, unknowingly creating some of the most valuable modern rarities ever, and the fact that an everyday penny from 1965, something millions of people used to buy gum, newspapers, or candy, could one day resurface and be worth millions is nothing short of magical. It fuels the imagination of treasure hunters, coin roll searchers, and casual change checkers everywhere, because it proves that hidden treasures really can be found in the most ordinary places. You could walk past a fortune in your change jar, in your wallet, or tucked away in an old drawer in your house without even knowing it, and this is why stories like this capture global attention, because they connect the thrill of discovery with the possibility of unimaginable wealth, and it reminds us that history is alive, circulating in our hands, quietly waiting for someone to notice. And the fascinating part is that even though collectors know about the 1965 no-mint mark penny, there are probably still some undiscovered examples out there, lying hidden, waiting for that one lucky person to find them, maybe in a dusty old coin collection passed down from a grandparent, maybe in a forgotten piggy bank, or maybe in pocket change that hasn't been looked at closely in decades. And when that day comes, when another one of these elusive coins is found, it will make headlines again, because the story never gets old, the mystery never fades, and the dream of turning a cent into millions will always capture hearts, and beyond the numismatic world. There's a life lesson too, that sometimes the things we overlook, the things we underestimate, can hold the greatest value, that fortunes can be hidden in plain sight, and that history always leaves traces for us to uncover if we care enough to look. So never underestimate the power of a small coin, never ignore the change in your hand, because you never know when you might stumble upon something like the 1965 no-mint mark penny. The coin with a face value of just 1 cent but a true value of $11 million, a symbol of luck, rarity, and the magic of discovery. And if you enjoyed this journey into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more incredible stories of coins worth millions that could still be hiding in your pocket right now. Next, 1981 cent USA coin. The thought of stumbling upon a simple penny and realizing it could change your life forever is something that fascinates collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people alike, because history has shown us that even the smallest coin can hold an extraordinary story, and one of the most thrilling examples of this is the 1980 no-mint mark USA 1 cent coin. A coin that at face value is worth just a cent, but in rare, extraordinary cases has been valued at up to $7 million, making it one of the most jaw-dropping finds in the numismatic world. And when we dive deep into the story of this coin, we uncover a history of mistakes, rarity, errors, and intrigue that proves once again why pennies are not to be underestimated, because while billions of 1980 pennies were minted, the few with rare and unique features have transformed into treasures that collectors will pay unimaginable amounts to acquire. And to truly understand why the 1980 no-mint mark penny has gained this legendary reputation, we need to look back at what was happening in American coinage during this time. The year 1980 was significant for U.S. currency because it was the last full year before the transition away from the traditional copper composition of pennies. Prior to 1982, pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. But as copper prices soared and the cost to make each penny exceeded its face value, the U.S. Mint decided to shift to a primarily zinc composition in 1982, coating the coin in a thin layer of copper, which changed its weight to 2.5 grams. And although this change happened after 1980, it meant that the 1980 penny stood right at the edge of a major transformation, making it a fascinating piece of history. But the rarity and high values come not from composition alone but from unusual circumstances, errors, and minting anomalies that occurred during production, because in 1980, mint marks had become standard again after their absence from 1965 to 1967, so finding a penny without a mint mark from this year should have been impossible, except for one fact: Philadelphia, where many coins were struck, did not place a mint mark on its coins, meaning 1980 no-mint mark pennies were indeed from Philadelphia. But here's where it gets interesting, because out of the hundreds of millions minted there, only a few were struck in such unusual ways, with such remarkable errors or in such pristine, untouched conditions, that they rose above the rest and entered the realm of multimillion-dollar value. Imagine a coin struck off-center so dramatically that half of its design is missing, or a penny struck on the wrong planchet, like a dime or foreign coin blank, instantly creating a one-of-a-kind rarity. Or consider a double-die penny, where inscriptions like "Liberty, in God We Trust," or even the numbers in the date 1980 appear doubled, producing a coin so visually distinct that collectors will battle for ownership. And then there are transitional errors, where a coin is struck on planchets from another era or another denomination, making it an outlier that should never have existed. And when one of these errors is combined with an untouched, mint-state condition, preserved as though it never left the mint, its value skyrockets. And among these rarest examples, the 1980 no-mint mark penny worth $7 million stands out as one of the most coveted, with auction houses reporting record-breaking bids and collectors telling stories of desperate attempts to add this unicorn of a coin to their collections. And what makes this all even more captivating is the idea that such a coin could still be out there, hidden in someone's change jar, resting in an old wallet, or forgotten in a drawer, waiting to be rediscovered, because unlike gold bars or famous artworks, these treasures circulate in everyday life. blending in with ordinary change. And that possibility fuels the excitement of millions who check their pennies carefully, dreaming of striking it rich with one lucky find. And beyond the financial reward, the story of the 1980 no-mint mark penny reminds us of how mistakes, imperfections, and uniqueness create value. In a world where billions of identical pennies were struck, it's the flawed, the different, the unusual that captures the imagination and commands fortunes. It's a lesson in life as much as it is in collecting, because what seems worthless or ordinary on the surface may, under closer inspection, prove to be priceless. And so every time you come across a penny, especially one from 1980 without a mint mark, take a moment to look closer, to weigh it, to study its details, because you may just be holding a piece of history that could be worth $7 million, a life-changing fortune hidden in plain sight. And this is why numismatics isn't just about coins, it's about the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the endless possibility that something so small can carry such immense power. And if this story has sparked your curiosity, your excitement, or your determination to start checking every penny that passes through your hands, then remember that fortunes aren't always buried deep in the ground, sometimes they're right there in your pocket. And if you want to keep exploring more incredible stories of rare coins, valuable errors, and hidden treasures worth millions, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next discovery that could change your life. Next, 1987 1-cent USA coin. The idea that a tiny coin, something so ordinary and common that millions of people pass it by every single day without a second thought, could secretly hold a value of millions of dollars is both mind-blowing and inspiring. And one of the greatest examples of this astonishing reality is the 1987 no-mint mark USA 1-cent coin, which has been valued at up to $4 million in extraordinary cases, making it not only a collector's dream but also a life-changing treasure for anyone lucky enough to discover it. Because when we take a deeper look into the history of the 1987 penny, we find a fascinating combination of rarity, errors, transitional changes, and minting quirks that together make this small copper-coated coin a legend in the world of numismatics. And to truly understand why this 1987 no-mint mark penny is so special, let's go back to the context of the mid to late 1980s, when the US Mint had already transitioned away from solid copper coins and fully embraced the new copper-plated zinc composition that was first introduced in 1982, meaning the 1987 penny should weigh 2.5 grams instead of the earlier 3.11 grams of copper. And on the surface, all 1987 pennies looked the same: tiny, brownish red coins struck in enormous numbers at multiple mints across the United States. Yet it's within these billions of coins that a few extraordinary outliers emerged, and these rare error coins became so highly coveted that they eventually commanded multi-million-dollar prices. One of the most intriguing facts about the 1987 penny is that the no-mint mark version indicates that it was struck in Philadelphia, since pennies from that mint during this time did not carry a mint mark. And while most of them are worth face value, the true treasures are those struck in error, those carrying unusual features, or those preserved in near-perfect condition. Because in the coin collecting world, rarity is everything, and it only takes a small mistake, a unique striking anomaly, or a perfectly preserved surface to turn an ordinary coin into a record-breaking prize. So what kinds of errors make a 1987 penny worth $4 million? Imagine a penny struck on the wrong planchet, like a leftover copper planchet from before 1982, creating a heavier coin that instantly stands out to experts, or a penny struck on a dime planchet, making it smaller, thinner, and completely unique. Then there are double die errors, where inscriptions such as "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date 1987 appear double due to a misalignment in the die hubbing process, giving the coin a ghostly, doubled appearance that collectors find irresistible. And off-center strikes are another valuable error, where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, leaving part of the blank surface exposed, and sometimes coins are struck multiple times, resulting in overlapping images that make them one-of-a-kind pieces. And then there are clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, and even transitional anomalies that should never have happened, each one adding to the mystique and driving up the value at auction. And while all of these errors can make a 1987 penny valuable, what pushes certain examples into the multimillion-dollar range is their combination of rarity, pristine condition, and historical intrigue. Because when a coin like this shows up at auction, collectors and investors from around the world recognize its uniqueness and bid ferociously to own a piece of history that may never appear again. And it is this competition, this demand, and this obsession that drives values into the millions, turning a 1-cent coin into a $4 million treasure. And beyond the financial side, there is a sense of wonder and possibility that keeps people searching, because the truth is that most of these rare 1987 no-mint mark pennies are still out there, hidden in collections, resting in drawers, or quietly sitting in jars of change, waiting for the right set of eyes to recognize their value. And that's what makes coin collecting so exciting, the idea that you, me, or anyone could stumble across one of these treasures at any moment. Because these coins aren't locked away in museums or vaults, they're circulating, blending in with billions of others, hiding in plain sight, and that thought alone keeps the hunt alive, sparking excitement and curiosity in collectors around the world. And the story of the 1987 penny is more than just a tale of money. It's a reminder that the smallest things can hold the greatest value, that imperfections can create beauty and worth, and that history leaves behind hidden treasures for us to discover. And when you hold a penny, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a piece of American history, a tiny artifact that connects the past to the present, and sometimes, if luck and fate align, that coin could be worth millions. So the next time you see a 1987 no-mint mark penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, study its weight, its shine, its details, because you could be staring at the $4 million treasure that numismatists dream about. And just imagine the story you could tell, the headlines it would make, and the life-changing fortune that could be yours from something so small, so overlooked, yet so powerful. And if you love stories like this, stories of ordinary coins with extraordinary value, of hidden treasures waiting to be found, and of history revealing its secrets in unexpected ways, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because we are constantly uncovering more coins, more mysteries, and more chances for you to discover the next big fortune hiding in your change.